Dominic LeBlanc talked about an energy partnership with the United States in exchange for relief over sectorial tariffs in steel and aluminum. An energy partnership with the United States? I was under the impression that the whole point of building out our energy was to court new markets and to reduce our interdependence and our dependence on the United States. So,
hold on a second. Did we just hear actual self-awareness from CBC News? Are they actually starting to report the truth and figure out that Mark Carney is not the savior that Canadians built him up to be, and that Elbows Up was a giant sham? The meeting between Mark Carney and Donald Trump really exposed this, so let's get into it. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Johnny Says So. And if you're new here, make sure you smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment down below because I want to know everybody's thoughts on the complete and total shit show that was the meeting between Mark Carney and Donald Trump. It was an unmitigated disaster in my opinion, but a predictable one. And before we get into it, I think this headline sums it up nicely. Breaking news. Canadian PM meets with man he villainized to win election, pledges to send villain $1 trillion to make America great again. Make no mistake about it. That is exactly what happened here. Mark Carney failed to stand up to Donald Trump in any meaningful way, which is hilarious considering that is why he was elected to begin with, if you can believe that. And not only that, but Mark Carney returned to Canada with no deal. And he really only spoke when directed to by Donald Trump. It indeed was the Trump show, and he took every opportunity afforded to him to troll Mark Carney.
Thank you very much, everybody. It's an honor to have the Prime Minister of Canada, Mark Carney, who I have made very popular. He's an extremely popular Prime Minister, and I'm very honored to do it because I liked him right from the beginning. I've liked him.
So it's really funny because we don't really know how much Donald Trump pays attention to Canadian politics. I would guess not very much. I really don't think we are on his mind much at all. It's like that scene from Mad Men. I don't think about you at all. But seriously, this is quite the hilarious thing for Trump to say. He knows damn well that Trump derangement syndrome is what got Mark Carney elected, and it's so refreshing to hear out loud. How's those elbows feeling now, Canada?
And we've had a good relationship. We have some natural conflict, but we will probably work that out. But we've had a very strong relationship, and your hosting of the various countries that showed up, that was a beautiful job you did, and I appreciate it very much. We're going to be talking about trade. We're going to be talking about a lot of different things. We'll certainly be talking about Gaza. We're in very serious negotiations to, I guess you could say, depending on the way you count, 3,000 years, you could say 500 years, you could say, but that it's been raging for a long time. And I think there's a possibility that we could have peace in the Middle East. It's something.
So as soon as Trump brings up Gaza, Mark Carney puts his head down. You're going to see a lot of that in this video, by the way. But it's actually very relevant that Trump brings this up because obviously the meeting happened on October 7th, and that's pretty significant. But Canada's position on Palestine has been a point of contention for the president for a while now. Take a look at this post from Truth Social, for instance. Wow, Canada just announced that it is backing statehood for Palestine. That will make it very hard for us to have a trade deal with them. Oh, Canada. So Trump proceeds to spend the first couple of minutes talking about the peace deal that he is attempting to broker between Israel and Palestine, which I really hope works out, but that might be a topic for an entirely different video. Finally, Mark Carney is given permission to speak.
Later. But in the meantime, we'll spend some time and we'll make some deals and we'll do some things that are good for both of our countries. And Mark, it's an honor to have you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. If I may, you kindly hosted me and some of my colleagues a few months ago, and I said at the time, you are a transformative president. And since then, the transformation in the economy, unprecedented commitments of NATO partners to defense spending, peace from India, Pakistan through to Azerbaijan, Armenia, disabling Iran as a force of terror, and now, and I'm running out of time, but this is in many respects the most important.
The merger of Canada
No,
and the
what
United
you
States.
That wasn't where I was going.
Now, I'm sure there's still an alarming number of people in Canada that haven't gotten the joke yet, but clearly Donald Trump was joking this entire time about the 51st state, and he just admitted it. And to see Mark Carney sitting there laughing with him, that has to hurt the psyche of the Liberal voter. I mean, he just heaped a whole bunch of praise on Donald Trump for the way he's transforming the American economy. A lot different from his rhetoric on the campaign trail. And listen to this. He continues to praise him on his efforts to make peace in the Middle East.
I don't know where I was going. On this solemn day of commemoration of the horrific attacks of October 7th, for the first time in decades, hundreds of years, thousands of years, this prospect of peace that you've made possible. Canada stands foursquare behind those efforts, and we'll do whatever we can to support them.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Any questions?
Skipping ahead a little bit, we have another heads down for Mark Carney moment as a reporter asks a very good question about the recent hostility that Canadians have had towards Americans.
Canadians are refusing to go to the U.S. The numbers are down like 23% in the first 7 months of the year. What do you say to Canadians that don't want to go to the U.S. now because of your 51st state talk, because of the trade war, the tariffs, and the fear of also being detained at the border?
And Americans don't want to buy cars that are made in Canada. You know, I mean, we have the same conflict. So there isn't. It's something that will get worked out. There's still great love between the two countries, but American people want product here. They want to make it here. Detroit was emptied out and moved to Canada, moved to Mexico, moved to other places, not just Canada. And now they're all moving back, they're moving back. We have, right now, I was just telling Mark, we have 17 trillion, but it's really much higher. That was as of a couple of months ago. We have over $17 trillion being invested now in the United States. As an example, Biden, he was the worst president we've ever had, but they had less than 1 trillion in 4 years. We have more than 17 trillion in 8 months. 8 months. And I think that number is going to be $22 trillion. There's never been anything like that in the history of the world for any country, not even close.
Now, I thought that was a really good question, but Donald Trump didn't answer it directly, at least. But I have to wonder if he is aware that Mark Carney and his lapdog legacy media and all the quote-unquote conservative premiers in Canada have been actively encouraging Canadian citizens not to travel to the United States. Certainly he must be aware that Justin Trudeau said the exact same thing. Let me know what you think down in the comments. All right, so we're skipping ahead a little bit because there were some more questions about American domestic policy, but we actually have one that was directed towards the Prime Minister, and Trump is giving Mark Carney permission to answer it. Let's check it out.
Mr. Prime Minister, I'd like to know how come the UK and the European Union have succeeded to sign deals and bring the tariffs down, and Canada still hasn't been able to do the same?
Yeah, because they're not located right next to each other. It makes it. In many cases, it's much better and easier. But
yeah, and if I may, let's be clear about the relationship as it stands right now. We are the second largest trading partner of the United States. We do a lot of trade going across the border where we're cooperating, first thing. Secondly, we are the largest foreign investor in the United States. $500 billion in the last 5 years alone, probably $8 trillion in the next 5 years if we get the agreement that we expect to get.
So there it is. There's Mark Carney saying that $1 trillion will leave Canada for the United States if we get the deal that we expect to get. Again, it's the cognitive dissonance that must be in the minds of people that voted for Mark Carney while he was saying things like, our relationship with the United States is over. It's truly remarkable.
Will Canada be leaving empty-handed? Will Canada be leaving empty-handed?
Wait. So one thing where we are working very closely is the Golden Dome. That's the protective mechanism, and you see how that works. It's unbelievable. Ronald Reagan wanted to have it, and at that time they didn't have the technology, even close to the technology. But he was advanced, and we'll be working together on a Golden Dome for the two countries, and it's something that I think is going to be very important, especially when you look at the world. You look at what's happening. We want to have.
Okay, so let me get this straight. Canadians rejected Pierre Poilievre because he was going to capitulate to Donald Trump. And here's Mark Carney nodding in agreement that Canada is going to be helping fund Donald Trump's Golden Dome.
All your trade deals that you've signed, there's been a minimum tariff that countries have got. When USMCA gets renegotiated, do you want a minimum tariff on goods between Canada and the US?
Well, we're going to have tariffs between Canada, and they have them with us. I will say with our farmers, as you know, they went up to as much as 400%, 250, 300, and even one at 401. We found one having to do with a very small product, but it was high.
So there it is. USMCA comes up, and Mark Carney has very shifty eyes here when Donald Trump brings up the fact that our supply management policy is a major point of contention with the United States. And it's interesting because Melanie Joly was in attendance at this meeting, and this is very awkward because in the past, she has said that supply management is not on the table. Mark Nixon pointing this one out. Melanie Joly just told Canadians the truth. It doesn't matter if Donald Trump demands it. Supply management will never be touched. Food prices, affordability, our economy, all thrown under the bus to protect their sacred cow.
Beyond that, supply management is not on the table, and Quebec culture will never be on the negotiating table.
So Carney has already completely capitulated on the digital services tax, which, to be fair, was a good move because it was an absolutely ridiculous policy to begin with. And there's clear signals that he is willing to sign on and spend money on the Golden Dome. And now it seems that supply management is indeed something that Donald Trump is going to demand in order to renegotiate the USMCA.
USMCA, are the two of you both committed to seeing it through in the renegotiation of that deal that you made?
Well, we could renegotiate it, and that would be good, or we could just do different deals. We're allowed to do different deals if we want. We might make deals that are better for the individual.
What's your preference?
Countries. I don't care. I want to make whatever the best deal is for this country, and also very much with Canada.
Now, Donald Trump is implying that the deal that he reaches with Carney may scrap the USMCA entirely in favor of something different. Now, Donald Trump says that this will benefit America and Canada. But I want to go back to this clip because I find this very interesting how Mark Carney says the same thing, but he also puts America before Canada.
Thirdly, there are areas, as the president just said, where conflict, maybe not so much conflict, we compete. There are areas where we compete, and it's in those areas where we have to come to an agreement that works. But there are more areas where we are stronger together, and that's what we're focused on. And we're going to get the right deal for America, right deal, obviously, from my perspective, for Canada.
Now, that was quite the Freudian slip, wasn't it? Now, he corrected himself in the end there, saying that obviously the best deal for Canada, but it's pretty telling that he put America first in that sentence, just as Donald Trump did. And it's not surprising, given that's where all of his assets are held. You know, I'm used to Mark Carney jet-setting all around the world on our tax dollars, but this by far was the most pointless of his expensive excursions. But that's going to be it for me today, guys. Let me know what you think down in the comments. And as always, smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, and as always, I'll see you in the next one. Peace.
Johnny from Nova Scotia says thank you. Hey, Johnny from Nouvelle-Écosse, il dit merci, thank you. Thanks to you. Thank you so much. Perfect. Yeah, Quebec.